champions. It comes once a year, the fabulous World's 100.
I wish every one of you could win.
I didn't think I'd ever run this. 1986.
It's Sunday, October the 7th, 1990, aboard Eldora Speedway for the World 100, the 20th annual World 100. Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Clum with the Race Review video, and we're going to try one more time to get the World's 100 Classic in here at Eldora Speedway. The race originally scheduled in September was rained out after only 3 qualifying heat races. 3 exciting heat races, which we're going to watch right after this opening. So we're back here today for the second attempt at running the 20th annual Eldora Speedway World 100. They call this race the granddaddy of late model dirt classics, and that it is. As you can see, there is a stellar crowd here again today, as always seems to be the case at Eldora Speedway. We had over 225 cars qualifying and attempting for one of the 120 spots that fills the field. And then they'll be qualifying through the heat races today to fill up those 24 prestigious starting spots in this year's 100-lap event. A race paying $23,000 to the winner and $1,000 just to start the race. So you can imagine the best late model drivers in the world are here at Eldora Speedway. Let's go down to the pits now, look over some of today's cars that are on hand, the ones that came back for this second attempt, and then we're going to pick up on the action for the opening heat race, the qualifying races from the last attempt in September. Again, this is Jerry Clum, the Race Review video, and the 1990 Eldora Speedway World's 100.
The 1990 World's 100. It's October the 7th, 1990 now. This is the 20th annual event, and you're looking at the 1988 champion, Scott Bloomquist, Mooresburg, Tennessee. Scott came over last week during a USAC 4-Crown late model event to try to get a chance to check out the race conditions here, since this race was scheduled to run at an afternoon show. Notice his left arm, a broken wrist and thumb. It happened here last week during the late model feature. Watch now as Scott gets trapped in the middle of this melee. His 18 Masterbuilt car catapults high up into the air, his hand jammed into the wheel, and Scott received a broken thumb and wrist. So he'll be driving today with a bit of a handicap as he has to handle that car for 100 laps with this sore and broken wrist. There's your 1980 winner, Charlie Swartz. Now builds the Swartz race car chassis, coming on very strong in the late model world. The 1987 winner is Randy Boggs. Randy, driving the car number 17, changed his number to 17 after winning the 17th annual World's 100. And there's your current champion, defending 1989 winner, Donnie Moran, Fraserburg, Ohio, drives that Bullet chassis powered by a Dreamy engine. The 1982 winner was on hand, Mike Duvall out of Gaffney, South Carolina. Mike comes up almost every year for this great a race. $23,000 to win, a stellar field of competitors. 225 qualified back in September. And we've got the majority of all those drivers that were scheduled to race back here today with us to run their 3rd, 4th, 5th heat races, and also the 6th heat race that wasn't completed, along with the B main and the big feature event. Now we're going back to September the 7th, 1990, and this is actually the first day the time trials took place. 225 cars were on hand, and here's a look at some of the top entrants. Marty Horton, there's Donnie Moran. You know, there's only been 14 different winners of this race since it started back in 1971. 20 years, 14 different winners. Only 2 drivers have ever won more than one World 100. That being Larry Moore, who won it in 79, 81, and 85, and Jeff Purvis, 3-time winner, 1983, 84, and 86. Moore is here today, this year, competing. Purvis has retired to running NASCAR events. And you've been looking at some of the veteran drivers and some of the rookies that have been running here for the World's 100. C.J. Rayburn, he builds the cars. He also comes here and competes. Delmus Conley, always a top competitor. Delmus been running in many of the World 100s, along with Billy Moyer out of Arkansas, and at build day number 21. You're looking at Freddie Smith, the 00 car, his 12th attempt at coming to the World's 100. There's the track record holder, 16.114, set by John Mason back in 1987, a record that was blown away this year. Jack Boggs, Black Jack Boggs out of Grayson, Kentucky, and Don Seaburn, the Dayton, Ohio driver. Rookie 1988 was Scott Bloomquist when he first came here and won this race. And there's one more look at Randy Boggs in the 1987 winning car, number 17. Here's the driver's meeting and Earl Baldus with a greeting.
Started. I want to thank all you men, everybody involved to come to the World 100. Without this, nothing. I'll tell you what, we'll all over here. By God, it's something. You can't be up 2 nights in a row. Never do this, that many of these cars in the United States. I thought there were 4 million in the car. Thanks for coming.
Everything went real smooth. Everybody cooperated and brought up what they had to bring. We're going to start at 7 o'clock sharp with racing. There'll be no hot laps.
Out of the 255-car field, only the top 120 fastest make the heat races. 6 heat races, 20 cars each. The fast qualifier starts in the 6th position. The second fast qualifier starts in 6th position in heat number 2, and so on, right down through the line. There's going to be 6 heat races, 15-lap events with 20 cars. The top 3 finishers will advance to the World's 100. The next 3 cars advance to the B main, and the balance become alternates.
Third place finisher then starts the 13th spot.
Quite a unique program. It's been very effective here at Eldora Speedway. There also is a provisional start. The fastest 2 qualifiers that do not earn a start through their heat races will be starting in the field 19th and 20th, respectively. And then the top 4 cars out of the B main will fill out the 24-car starting lineup for the 100-lap, $23,000 to win 1990 World 100. This format is such that it becomes very difficult to make the World 100, and most drivers that have won it talk about that as they are interviewed about the difficulty of even making the field of one of the fastest 24 cars. You have to run hard all weekend and run hard very fast through your heat race. The winner of the first heat race will be starting in 6th position. The winner of the second heat race will be starting in 5th, right up the line until the winner of the 6th heat race starts on the pole. If you finish second in your first heat race, you actually will be starting in 7th position. Second in the second heat race starts 8th, and right on down the line. So first heat race, the winner starts in 6th position. The guy finishing second starts in 7th. And the car finishing 3rd actually starts in 13th position in the World 100. So every time you pass a car in a heat race, you're actually gaining 6 spots in your starting lineup for the 1990 World 100. With that kind of difficulty and that kind of challenge, these drivers run hard through the qualifying heat race events. They continue to go over the rules and regulations, and the thing that's very important here at Eldora Speedway is to keep everything fair and legal. They're using the United Midwestern promotional rules. The cars are weighed and measured, and if anybody is found to be illegal, there's a severe penalty that Earl Baldus will be talking about here in just a few minutes.
Of course, the World's 100 is 100 laps, and they're all racing laps under green. You enter the track only in the number 1 turn when you pit. When you come in from the track, if you're late, the only place you can enter the track right down here. Don't try to come in any place else when you're gone. All repairs to your cars must be made in the pit area. Do not work on your cars on the track. If you do, you're disqualified. If you pit on a yellow, you start on the tail. If you pit on a red, do not hold up the race. You will get your position back. If you are not lined up and ready to go, you will lose your spot. This also applies to the World's 100. We're not going to wait. There's too many guys that will take your place if you're not ready, so be ready to race. We will run 6 heats, then the last chance race, and then the World's 100.
Your tires, no matter what they say on them, have to measure with a tape measure, 11 by 92. If you have any tire that's 11 1/4 or 92 1/4, you will not go out on the racetrack. Your tail must be 35 inches high. It cannot be higher. You will not go out in your heat. After the heat, we will weigh the first 4. The first 4 in each heat will pull in the 4-turn gate and over the scales. If you come off the track on any turn except turn 4, you will not be weighed. The last chance race, we will also weigh the first 4. After the feature, we will weigh the first 5. And all 5 are susceptible to total inspection. So if you're legal, don't change a thing. If you finish in the top 5, you've got to be legal.
Now he talks about the illegal cars. Car called illegal to Eldora. You are out for 5 years. That is the driver, car owner, both. So the drivers know who you're running for.
Can't hear you back here.
Any fighting. This racetrack, it's at least 5 years, not less than 5 years. So if you want to fight, tell me about it. And we'll set up a ring. And I'll pay the winner 50%. I'll give the loser 25%. And by God, I'm a voter, I get the other 25. That's why I get so damn mad when you fight, so don't fight. It says ring. And you can see what the hell we're faced with. It rains here every damn day. I can't stop it. There it is. It comes every day. We're going to try to run it if it gets quite late, so be prepared for it. And by God, there's rain there again.
Yes, it rained again, and after about a 4-hour delay, the time trials finally got underway, and the new track record set by Scott Bloomquist, 16.096, 111.829 mile per hour in the 18 car, better than the mark held by John Mason of 16.114. Scott went on to set the second fast time as well of 16.26. So Scott Bloomquist has a guaranteed spot in the 1990 World 100 through his provisional start. On down through the top 6, Larry Moore was third fastest, former winner at 16.31. Donnie Moran, former winner, the defending champion, 16.37, fourth fastest time. Charlie Schwartz won at 1980. He had the fifth time of 16.39, followed by Billy Moyer, sixth fastest at 16.40, and the second 3-time winner, Larry Moore, 14 car, 16.44. Here's a rundown of the rest of the top qualifiers. You can see who made the field for the 1990 World 100. In case you missed that, the rule next year, 1 car, 1 driver, starting in 1991. Here's your first heat lineup, 15 laps. Delmas Conley on the pole in the 71X car. Steve Francis outside front row. Then we have Smith in the 11 car. Carrier 24X. Larry Moore 14. Bloomquist 18. Pierce, Knowles, Arp, and Ryance. Then we have Patterson, Moyer, Flynn, Bowersock, Tony Green, Schroyer, Don Hobbs, McWilliams, English, Davis. And again, only the top 3 cars advance to the World's 100. The next 3 go into the last chance race. Cars finishing 7th and back can be alternates later on in the B main if they are needed. So the field is set for the first of the 6 qualifying heat races to be scheduled to run here tonight. The track's in excellent condition, a lot of moisture, as Delmas Conley out of Southern Ohio sitting on the pole in the 21X car, 71X car. Then we have Francis on the outside front row. Next in third spot is Smith in the 11 car. Eddie Carrier in the 24X car starting in 4th position. 3-time winner of this event is Larry Moore. He'll be starting in 5th position. And the fast qualifier, new track record holder, Scott Bloomquist, starting in 6th spot. The field is set and the green flag's about to wave for the first heat race for the 1990 20th Annual World's 100. Conley and Francis pick up their pace. There's the green flag. It's showtime at the Big E, and the race is underway as Delmas Conley moves out into the lead in the 71X car. Drivers get pretty anxious when it comes to starting these heat races. They realize it's now or never. The yellow flag waves as we have a multi-car pileup down there at the end of the straightaway. The track is cleared, no injuries, and there'll be a complete restart, 2 abreast. Again, they pick up their pace coming down for the green flag. The starter looks them over. He throws the flag. The heat race again back underway. and Thomas Conley makes a move from the inside position into the lead as he bangs off the wall ahead of Steve Francis. They say the place to start Eldora is the outside the front row. Conley proved you can do it from the inside if you run hard enough. Running second, it's Steve Francis in the 50 next car, followed by Eddie Smith and Eddie Carrier. Again, the track is in excellent condition. It seems each year Earl Baldus can prepare this track to make it even faster and better for these guys for qualifying and heat races. Moving up in the second spot, it's Eddie Carrier. Scott Bloomquist has made a move now, coming up from his sixth place start. He's in third spot. Bloomquist is in third as the yellow flag comes out. We have a car stalled on the track. That'll bring out a restart, and that moves Bloomquist back into fourth spot for the restart. They're picking up their speed again, coming down for the green flag. The restart back underway. Conley maintains the lead. Eddie Carrier running in second spot. Running third, it's Steve Francis, followed by Scott Bloomquist in fourth spot. And Bloomquist is starting to slow down. He's slowing down now. He's dropped back into sixth spot. Scott Bloomquist obviously having some problems in his first heat race, and the fast qualifier, new track record holder, is fading now towards the back of the pack. Eddie Carrier putting the pressure on Conley, trying to make that move into the first spot. Remember, that's a difference of 6 positions. You move up in the start of the feature. Whoever wins this race will be starting in 6th position, and the person finishing second will be starting in 7th position for the big World 100. Now up in the third place, it's 3-time winner of the World 100, Larry Moore. Steve Francis has faded back into 4th spot. Larry Moore moved up into a qualifying position. He'd like to advance this second, or better yet, to win this race. Presently where he's running, if he makes the show, he'd be starting in 12th position. Bob Pierce started the race in 7th spot. He's moved up into 5th. That's good enough for a last chance effort, but Bob again would like to make that move up into the top 3 and earn a spot for the World 100. For the next 8 laps, the positions were maintained pretty much as you see them right here on the screen, with Thomas Conley hanging on to a lead over Eddie Carrier. Larry Moore hanging in there for his 3rd spot. Steve Francis moved up into 4th, followed by Bob Pierce, David Moyer, Skip Arp, Chris Patterson, and Smith finishing 11th. As your first heat race winner was Thomas Conley. He'll be starting the World 100 in the 6th position. Starting in 7th spot is going to be Eddie Carrier, and starting in 13th position, it's Larry Moore, who finished 3rd. Here's a recap and a summary of the top 9 spots for the feature event. Conley, Carrier, Moore make a spot into the World 100. Steve Francis, Bob Pearson, David Moyer will be starting through a B main, and drivers out of the race with an opportunity to be alternates include Skip Arp, Chris Patterson, Eddie Smith, Don Hobbs, Jerry Bowersock, and on down the line as the first heat race of the evening picks up the checkered flag at Eldora Speedway. Next up, it'll be the second 15-lap qualifying heat race, and again, we'll be taking the top 3 spots into a feature event. As Conley picks up the white flag, indicating 1 lap to go around Eldora Speedway, and Thomas Conley goes on to pick up that checkered flag and a victory in the first qualifying heat race for the 20th annual World's 100. Next up, let's take a look at the lineup for the second 15-lap heat race event. On the pole, it's Tom Helfrich. Outside front row, it's Jim Curry. Then we have Bob Hill, John Mason, Ronnie Johnson, Scott Bloomquist in his backup car, Steve Francis, followed by Rodney Combs, Gary Green, the 33 car, Snooky Dem in the 14, followed by Johnny Johnson in the 99 car. Then we have Brad Goff, Paul Harris, Jim Rayek, Jeff Naper, Steve Barnett, car number 89, starting in 14th spot. Then we have Ed Honshill, Paul Crockett, Randy Boggs, and Mike Thenka will be starting in the final position in car number 18. And only 3 of these top cars will again advance into the 1990 World's 100. A very tough format. Drivers that come here and compete against 225 other drivers for a chance and a privilege to be in the World's 100. Jim Curry on the outside of that front row alongside of your pole setter, Tom Helfrich. Third, it's Bob Hill, followed by John Mason, Ronnie Johnson, Scott Bloomquist are picking up their tempo. Down for the green flag. The race is underway. If Bloomquist does not finish in the top 3, he'll have to lose a provisional start. It's Jim Curry moves into the lead in the 7 car. Tom Helfrich drops back into the 2nd spot. Scott Bloomquist has moved up to 5th position. He needs to advance at least 2 more spots, and Ronnie Johnson is running in 6th spot. Your race leader, it's still the 7 car of Jim Curry. Running in 2nd position, it's Tom Helfrich, and that's 71X car. Tom gets a lot of racing down at Homestead Speedway, his father's track, down by Evansville, Indiana. And they bump down the backstretch. Helfrich, now into the wall goes Helfrich, and John Mason gets squeezed off. Let's take a look at the replay on this accident. A multiple car pileup now. Gary Green, Jim Rayrack, Johnny Johnson, 99, is involved in it. Here's a slow motion replay. You can see what happened. Gone down the backstretch. Tom Helfrich bumped Jim Curry in that left quarter panel. Got his car a little sideways, and that turned him up towards the wall where Mason was trying to make his move on the outside. Mason gets pinched off and driven into the wall at over 100 miles an hour, and his car is disintegrated when it smashes that wall. Helfrich's car also took some blows as it goes up and then careens into the wall itself. Both cars were heavily damaged. Neither driver was injured. As the balance of the field comes around and starts hitting the spare parts laying on the track, quite a melee. Luckily again, though, no injuries. The track was cleared, and the race was restarted. Helfrich all the way from 2nd to the pits in one sweeping move. He has a backup car in the 50 race. He'll get a chance to try it one more time as the track is cleared, and the 2nd heat race event gets back underway. The restart green flag waves. Out in front, it's Jim Curry in the 7 car. Moving up fast now, it's Scott Bloomquist. Bloomquist, who was running in 4th in the restart, made his move high on the outside of the first turn. He's now in 2nd spot as he goes through turn 4. He gets bumped, though. He starts slowing down. We got a new leader, Bob Hill, in the JD1 car. He made a beautiful move there in turn 4 as he slipped past Curry into the lead. Curry running 2nd. Bloomquist running in 3rd spot, followed by Ronnie Johnson in the 5M car running in 4th. We got 4 cars running strong and hard up towards the front in this 2nd heat race. Stretching out his lead, it's Bob Hill, that JD1 car. He's really moving away from Jim Curry, who's running in 2nd spot. Running in 5th and 6th now, we've got Rodney Combs and Joff in the 44 car. Bloomquist still running in 3rd spot. He's still got a qualifying spot in this race if he can hang in there. Ronnie Johnson running in 4th spot. There's a rundown. You got Curry, Bloomquist, and Johnson running 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Bloomquist makes his move alongside of Jim Curry side by side through the 4th turn, but Curry hangs on and maintains his 2nd spot. Keep in mind the winner of this 2nd heat race starts 5th in the World's 100. The car finishing 2nd would start 8th in the World's 100, and the car finishing 3rd would start 14th in the World's 100. So again, moving up one position, very critical. As the race goes on for 2nd and 3rd positions in this World's 100, way out in front, stretching out that lead, it's Bob Hill in that JD1 car. Race leader is Bob Hill, and he stretched out a quarter-lap lead on the balance of the field, including the track record holder, Scott Bloomquist, who was sort of hung up behind Jim Curry Now Bloomquist bases moving the bottom side by side. He gets around Jim Curry. Curry back alongside. He's not wanting to give up that spot very handily. Ronnie Johnson also right in the middle of the melee there, running in 4th spot. These drivers mess up. Johnson's going to make his move, and he'll be running in 2nd spot. Exciting heat race action for 2nd and 3rd position for this 2nd heat race of the evening. And Johnson made a move into 3rd spot. Ronnie Johnson has jumped up into 3rd spot. Bob Hill in the JD1 car picks up the checkered flag. Scott Bloomquist made his move into 2nd spot. Johnson got up to 3rd, and Jim Curry slowed to 4th. As Hill, Bloomquist, and Johnson will now be starting in the World's 100. Jim Curry finishing 4th. He'll go through a B main, followed by Brad Goff and Rodney Combs in the 5 car. Rounding out the field, we have Randy Boggs, Paul Harris, Jeff Naper, Ed Honshell, Snooky Dame, Mike Faucus, as these drivers will be alternates for the B main. Next up, it's the 3rd qualifying 15-lap heat race event. 20 more cars vying for those 3 qualifying positions. Here's the lineup for the 30 race on the poles. Rick Uckland in the 12 car. Outside front row, it's Joe Meadows, 33. Then we have Freddie Smith, 00. Marty Horton, 1HK. Billy Moore in the 21X car. Larry Moore earned a spot through the 2nd heat race, so he won't be in the 3rd heat. Then we have Craig Lease, 51. John Rhodes, 68. Butch Boggs in the 10C car. Mark Bonnell in the T8 car, followed by Wendell Wallace, Steve Russell, Jerry Inman, Paul Fettstreiser, Kevin Claycomb, Ernie Burrow, Kevin Weaver, Charles Smith, Todd Gorella, and Charles Noble, with Dennis Boyce filling out the field as an alternate. On the pole, Rick Uckland, then Joe Meadows, 33 outside front row, then Freddie Smith in the 00 car, alongside Marty Horton, 1HK. Starting in 5th spot, it's Billy Moyer. Then we have Greg Least as the green flag waves, and the 30 race is underway. Into the lead is Joe Meadows in the 33 car. Second's Marty Horton. There's a few of them mixing up there in the straightaway. Freddie Smith in the 00 running in 3rd spot. LA Gear sponsors Smith's car this year. Blue and white, a little different color scheme from years past competing in the World 100. As race leader is Joe Meadows, and he's stretching out that lead. Rick Uckland running in 2nd spot, followed by Freddie Smith, Billy Moore in 4th. As a broad slide through the turns here at Eldora Speedway on a perfectly prepared racetrack, and the skies are getting darker every lap. There's more closer thunder to the races here at Eldora Speedway. Rain is imminent. Billy Moore in the 21 car trying to make that spot into the feature event, as is all 24 of these top late model drivers. Joe Meadows out in front, though, stretching that lead a little bit more each lap over 2nd spot Rick Uckland. Freddie Smith still running 3rd, but now being pressured by Billy Moore in that 21 car. It's starting to rain now. Raindrops are getting heavier each lap. A yellow flag is waving. We've got I believe there's a car stopped on the backstretch. The rain is starting to obstruct these drivers' view. They wear the full-face helmets with the tear-offs, and the rain gets on it, and then the dust flies up, and it turns into a batch of mud. And with an obstructed vision, you don't want this on a race here at Eldora Speedway with them speeds well over 100 miles an hour. For that matter, you don't want it at any racetrack, but it's extremely dangerous here. There's a green flag. One more attempt on this restart. The race leader against Joe Meadows. Rick Uckland running in 2nd spot in that 12 car. Running 3rd, it's still Freddie Smith, 00. 4th, it's the 21 car of Billy Moyer. The rain's starting to get heavier now. It's almost hard to believe these drivers can continue to drive. It's starting to really come down in sheets here at Eldora Speedway. I'm sure the flagman's looking that over, and when these track conditions get too serious, as you can see they've gotten, the red flag comes out, and there was a rain delay, a delay that lasted for several hours and ended up lasting almost a month. It's October the 7th. We're back at Eldora Speedway. The sun is shining today, and we're going to pick up on the third heat race one more time. Leading at the end of 10 laps was Joe Meadows, followed by Rick Uckland, Freddie Smith, Billy Moyer, and Butch Boggs. 5 laps remain in this qualifying heat race. And again, most of your drivers returned for the World's 100. There'll be no alternates added to this heat race since it was underway. All of the cars that were running at the time of the rain will be allowed to restart this third heat race event. The track is in good condition today. It's still overcast and still, as we said at the beginning of this film, very possibly rain in the area. There's the green flag. Meadows back into the lead. Rick Uckland running in second spot, followed by Freddie Smith and Billy Moyer. Keep in mind, it's been over 4 weeks since these drivers competed here at Eldora Speedway for most of them. And it's also a day race, changing conditions, changing tires, a little bit more difficult to compete. Car is still running very fast here as Billy Moyer in fourth spot trying to make his move and get up into that qualifying position. Now Butch Boggs putting the pressure on Billy Moyer. Got 3 famous bog boys that race real well. Black Jack, the oldest, then Randy Boggs, and now Butch Boggs. As Freddie Smith makes his move into second spot, Uckland seems to be slowing down the 12 car. Yes, he is. He's dropping out of the race. Rick Uckland, bad break after waiting a month. He's now going to be missing the World's 100. There's the white flag for the leader, Joe Meadows. He rounds turn 4 down the backstretch into the straightaway and picks up a checkered flag. He picks up a win. And that wasn't a week it took to finish, it was a month it took to finish. As Joe Meadows picked up the checkered, followed by Freddie Smith and Butch Boggs. Those 3 move into the World 100. Billy Moyer will have to do it again through the B main. Charles Noble finishing 5th, and Kevin Johnson was 6th in the 6th car. Rick Uckland, who had motor trouble and dropped out after leading the race, drops to 7th. Followed by Marty Horton, John Rhodes, Mark Bunnell, Steve Russell, and Paul Fettstreisler. 12 cars back out of the 20-car field. They come in for inspection each time by the ump officials as the 4th heat race now on the track. Mike Duvall sets on the pole, the Flexi Flyer F1. Outside front row, it's Rex Ritchie. Then we have Jeff Ike, John Provenzino, Jack Boggs, Donnie Moran, Randy Boggs, Bob Pierce, Rodney Franklin, Andy Ginsman, Glenn Bradley, Don Seaburn, C.J. Rayburn, Ray Gotze, Jerry Bowersock, Johnny Johnson, Rick DeLong, Anderson, Marcolia, and Staples, as several alternates are added to the back of this heat race. Again, the top 3 will make the World 100, the next 3 to the B main. And on the pole is the 1982 winner out of Gaffney, South Carolina, Likeable Mike Duvall. Outside front row, it's Rex Ritchie. Then we have Jeff Ike. John Provenzino in the 7th car will be starting in 4th spot. And starting in 5th position, it's Black Jack Boggs. Alongside of him, it's Donnie Moran, the defending 1989 winner. Donnie, one driver that only qualified 1 car. He only campaigns 1 car at Eldora Speedway, or I guess most of the tracks he goes to. So it's make it or not in this one heat race for Donnie Moran. The pace setters are Duvall and Ritchie as they come down one more time in front of the starter stand. He checks the order of alignment. Crowd still coming in here at Eldora Speedway. They started the races early today at noon. Of course, everyone knew what time it was. It's just a lot of people to get crammed into a racetrack in a short time, and a lot of fans who get in late are going to miss some of this heat race action tonight. Good field, though, and a lot of people in the grandstands from over 35 states. There's the green flag. The 4th heat race is underway. Side by side through the turn, and Mike Duvall, he's making his move into the lead. And we've got a pile up. Rick DeLong got into the wall. Rick DeLong in that 118 car, and Mike Bullock. Heavy contact with the front wall, breaking off a right rear or a right front tire. The track's cleared. The race is restarted. The green flag again comes out. Side by side down the straightaway, it's Rex Ritchie and Mike Duvall. And Duvall makes his move down the backstretch as he slides up into the lead, going through the third turn. Cars get a little sideways there through the turns. And Ritchie's got a flat tire. So he got sideways. He got clipped down the straightaway there. You might have seen that car that come up and just blasted him as he slowed down with that right rear tire flat. Yellow flag comes out. The track is cleared, and one more attempt to get this race running. It's a single file restart this time around. Mike Duvall set the pace out in front. In second place is Jeff Eicke, 33 car, followed by John Provenzino, and Donnie Moran running in fourth spot in that 99 car. He's moving up alongside of Provenzino. Now Blackjack Boggs right on Moran's bumper. Oftentimes the best racing for the heat races is back in the pack for that third qualifying position, which is the last spot. Moran gets into Provenzino, and he gets into the wall. Donnie slid up into John going through the third turn there. It looks like it's broke the suspension on that car. He's headed for the pits, out of the race. Third restart attempt. The green flag again waves. Mike Duvall sets the pace. Eicke running in second spot. Very close race now for a third spot as Donnie Moran is running in third. Blackjack Boggs right on Moran's tail. Last year, Donnie Moran was a runaway during the World's 100. Unbelievably, he lapped even the second-place car, Scott Bloomquist, and did it in unbelievable fashion. Actually, Scott was running second until the last lap and dropped by the wayside, but he was lapped last year here. And Randy Boggs looks like he's blown a motor. Smoke's pouring out of the car of Randy Boggs, the 1987 winner of the World's 100, and he's heading for the pits as the yellow flag comes out, slowing down the field. Mike Duvall continues to lead the race in that Flexi Flyer, the F1 Flintstone Flyer. And now Donnie Moran, the 1989 winner, he's driving by the race start, and he's going to be starting in his provisional spot, 19th in the feature. He was the second fastest qualifier as Mike Duvall goes on to pick up a checkered flag. I mentioned earlier that Bloomquist had both fast qualifying times, but they consider when one driver does that, the second fastest time is the second driver. So Mike Duvall, Jeff Eicke, and Jack Boggs aim to qualify for the World's 100. Rod Franklin, Don Siebert, and Andy Ginsman will work themselves through a B-main last chance race. And rounding out the field, it's Chris Anderson, Johnny Johnson, Jerry Bowersock did a great job, finishing 9th in that 18 car. Don Marcolia finishing 10th, followed by C.J. Rayburn, Donnie Moran, Randy Boggs finishing 13th, John Provenzino was 14th, Glenn Bradley finished in 15th position, followed by John Staples out of Wapak, Ohio, and the 64 car was 16th. Bob Pierce finished 17th, followed by Ray Gotze, Rick DeLong, and Mike Bullock. Those are your top 20 finishers for the fourth qualifying heat race, and we now have a total of 12 drivers with guaranteed starts in the World's 100. Mike Duvall picks up the checkered flag out of Gaffney, South Carolina, but he had a smile on his face. Here's your lineup for your fifth qualifying heat race. On the pole, it's Gary Stuhler out of Maryland. Outside front row, it's Tom Helfrich in his backup car. Then we've got Buck Simmons, Charlie Swartz, C.J. Rayburn, Benny Fettner, John Lawhorn, Tom Riots, Don Hobbs, Charlie Roberts, Watson in the 61 car, and Randy Woodling in the 4 car. Picking up their speed down the backstretch. Now they come in through the fourth turn. The starter raised the green flag, and the fifth qualifying heat race is underway. Here's the lead. It's Tom Helfrich, the Hopstead Hustler. And Gary Studer was running second. Now he's slowing down and dropping by the wayside. You can see him beating on the steering wheel. He's very upset. The yellow flag waving. The yellow flag waving. We'll have a restart. Gary Studer, great driver, very competitive during the World 100. He had some kind of a problem and dropped out of contention running second. The restart now, back up in line. It's going to be Helfrich in the 71 car, Swartz in the 1 car running second, Simmons running third in the 41X car. Then we have Fettner, Rayburn, and Woodling. Coming down for the green flag. The starter looks them over once again. The flag waves. The race back underway. It's Helfrich, Swartz, and Simmons running 1, 2, and 3 as they round turn 2 at Eldora. Charlie Swartz, he won this race a decade ago, and he says he's ready for another victory. Closing in fast on Charlie Swartz, it's the 41 car of Buck Simmons, another top competitor from the South. Indiana driver Tom Helfrich is out in front now, starting to lap the slower cars. Charlie Swartz still running in second spot. Buck Simmons right on his tail in third, as Helfrich is running away and leaving the balance of the field. Simmons alongside of Charlie Swartz, side by side down the straightaway. Neither one of them want to give up that spot because that's 6 positions in the feature, as we mentioned. Tom Helfrich goes on and picks up a victory, and that's actually the 5th heat race summary, not the 4th heat race. And Tom will be starting on the outside of the front row for the World's 100. The best spot to start at Eldora. Finishing second in this heat race was Charlie Swartz. He'll start 12th in the World's 100, and Buck Simmons hung on for 3rd. He'll start 17th in the World's 100. Benny Feitner, C.J. Rayburn, and Curtis Roberts will work themselves through a last chance B main, and the balance of the field will become alternates. As there's a rundown on the summary of the 5th heat race, and coming up next is the 6th and final qualifying heat race at Eldora Speedway for the 1990 20th Annual World's 100. Next up will be the 6th and final qualifying heat race as the Hopstead Hustler. Tom Helfrich picks up the white flag indicating 1 lap to go. You can see Tom had a comfortable lead over second place Charlie Swartz at the checkered flag, and he picks up his checkered flag and wins the 5th qualifying heat race for the 1990 World's 100. Starting on the pole in the 6th and final qualifying heat race will be Darrell Lanigan, car number 29. Outside front row, it's going to be Jeff Hauser in the 99 car. Then we have John Gill in the K1X car. Alongside of Gill is Mike Balzano in the E1 car. Then we have Bubba James, 44, Billy Moyer in the 21 car, Hill in the Indiana 1 car, Heed in the 54X, Schickel in the 5 car, followed by Mike Jewell, Larry Ennis, and Mike Head. On the pole, it's Darrell Lanigan outside front row with Jeff Hauser. They'll be setting the pace as John Gill in the K1X car and Mike Balzano in the E1 car are in hot pursuit. With 5 heat races now completed, we have 15 cars in the field for the 1990 World's 100. They're picking up their speed through the 4th turn. The green flag waves, and then the 6th heat race is green. Side by side down the straightaway, we've got Darrell Lanigan who makes his move into the lead. A real battle for second position between Hauser, John Gear, and Mike Balzano. Running very close, and Billy Moyer now in contention. Moyer running in 5th spot is right in there trying to make his move up into the top 3. Lining it out in front still sets the pace. Jeff Hauser, 99, running in 2nd. Mike Balzano is making his move, trying to drop down to the bottom. Here comes John Gill in the K1X car. Great racing for this 6th and final heat race of the evening here at Eldora Speedway for the 20th World 100. There's Balzano making a move into second spot. Mike Balzano drops to the bottom and moves up into second. It's Lanigan out in front. Mike Balzano closing in on Lanigan. And closing in the 21 car, it's Billy Moyer trying to make his move around Jeff Hauser. Side by side through the second turn down the backstretch, it's Lanigan and Balzano. Billy Moyer made his move in the third spot. Moyer got around Hauser in the third. Now he's closing in on Balzano. Three abreast racing here at Eldora Speedway on the fast Eldora banks. Side by side down the straightaway, Balzano and Lanigan as they touch fenders. Balzano makes his move and takes over the lead. Your new race leader is Mike Balzano, and Lanigan gets a face full of dirt as he slows down and drops the third. Billy Moyer makes a move into the lead. What a move Billy Moyer made on Mike Balzano, as Balzano was throwing clay back into the face of Lanigan, who backed off and slowed down. He dropped back in the third spot. Now Jeff Hauser trying to close in and get that gap between Lanigan, followed by John Gill and Bubby James. Out in front, though, blowing smoke, it's the 21 car of Billy Moyer. Moyer seems to be blowing smoke out of the back of that car. Hopefully he'll hang in there and be able to pick up the checkered flag. The race is half over with. 7 more laps remain in this race as the engine blows and Billy Moyer gets connected by Balzano and into the wall. Billy Moyer blew an engine. We'll go to a replay. You can see Moyer throw his hand out the window just as that engine let go. He knew he was going to be locking up and slowing down right into the path of Mike Balzano. His hand out the window. He's saying, look out, I'm going to stop. Balzano clips him, disintegrates that right rear tire, and then Moyer's car, out of control, slides up and heads into the concrete retaining wall outside of turn number 2. As Balzano keeps it under control and slides along the inside wall, he maintains his lead, and the flag comes out for Billy Moyer. He'll now be starting 20th in a provisional start for the World's 100. Third fastest qualifier. The restart lineup is ready as the skies continue to darken here at Eldora Speedway. The fans come prepared today, though. They've got plastic and umbrellas and canvas tarps, and they're reading their Mid-American. Lineup order includes Mike Balzano, Darrell Lanigan running in second spot, Jeff Hauser in third now, followed by John Gill and Bubby James. There's the green flag, the race back underway. It's Mike Balzano in the E1 car out in front, and he's stretching his lead over Jeff Hauser. John Gill makes a move up into third spot. It's Balzano, then we have Lanigan. John Gill running in third spot. Fourth is Bubby James. And Mike Balzano goes on to pick up a victory in the 6th and final heat race. That's going to start him on the pole for the 1990 World's 100. Darrell Lanigan finishing second in the 29 car, followed by John Gill in the K1X car owned by Ray Gotze. Bubby James, Mike Jewell, and Jeff Hauser will work themselves through the 15-lap B main. Race scheduled to come up preceding this final heat race. Balzano gets the pole of the World's 100. Lanigan will be starting 12th in the World's 100, and John Gill will be starting in 18th position. Next up on the agenda is a 15-lap B main event. All the cars finishing fourth, 5th, and 6th in each of the qualifying heat races will be starting in the B main. Coming down for the white flag, it's Mike Balzano. One more circuit around the big half mile here at Eldora Speedway, and he will have ensured himself that spot into the feature event. The pole position for the World's 100. That's quite a prestigious feat in itself. Next up on tonight's agenda is the 15-lap B main event. As we take a final look at Mike Balzano, formerly competed with the All-Star Circuit of Champions Late Model Series, very competitive driver. Has raced in several World 100s through the years. He knows his way around Eldora Speedway. Again, as each car comes in off the heat races, they pull into the inspection area. The car is then weighed with... For the next 2 hours, the rains continue to come off and on. And it's getting very late on a Sunday night. The fans are hanging in there. In fact, they figure out a way to have a little bit of fun. We call this the Mud Olympics. Until it completely quits raining, but we can have our Mud Olympics. Let's try it the other direction. Let's try it side by side. And let's try it 5 at a time and gang up. The Mud Olympics at Eldora Speedway. These guys have had a little bit too much beer, but they're having a lot of fun. Now we're going to have 2 of them pile up on here. It's going to be a little mud wrestling. You can go to bars and pay to see this, folks, but you get it free here at Eldora Speedway. And there's the referee. He's counting them out. And believe it or not, Earl Baltus was gracious enough to let these mud wrestlers go down and use his pond to wash off in. And that just doesn't happen. Nobody can swim in the pond here at Eldora Speedway, but Earl knew they'd be very unbearable trying to spend the rest of the evening out there with that mud drying on them. So as the rains continued, our mud wrestlers were given permission and escorted by the police to come down here and wash off some of the mud. And of course, they had to make a promise they wouldn't get back into it again. As we're waiting out this rain delay, they're trying to call the cars out to try to run this track in and get some help from the late model drivers with those wide tires. The push trucks just have such small, narrow tires, they can't even get traction and get moving on these slippery banks here at Eldora Speedway. It's 20 after 6. It's been raining for an hour, and it's still raining. They did finally bring the cars out, though, and these big wide tires did a fantastic job of running that track in, and we've got things ready to go for the B main. But once again, the rains come back. We decided there wasn't going to be a race tonight. It was going to have to be postponed for yet another week.
This race has not been canceled. It is postponed for one more